So it's been rumored that face cards, or playing cards, I'm talking about these right here, are evil. Or that the imagery on the cards has some sort of satanic symbolism. You've got the suicidal king, knife in the head. Ugh. Pressure of the position must have got to him. Then there's this little naked guy on the back of the bicycle brand cards, and like a little snake mermaid man or something. Gotta be evil. And all these little squiggly lines and circles, who knows what they mean. Let me just check my book of satanic symbols here. Oh wait, that's a math book. So what's the deal here, man? No pun intended. Speaking from my own experience, I do remember my religious leaders encouraging us not to bring playing cards to church on Wednesday. You know, some of us would bring them. Me. We'd play rummy. We'd bust out the cigars in the 20s. No, that's not true at all. It was pretty harmless, I thought. Sometimes we'd play poker. No chips, no money. Maybe candy now and then. Later, poker had been denounced specifically, but gambling had always been a clear no-no. That's a whole other subject. We're talking about the cards. Is it the cards themselves and the imagery that's on them that is evil? So I hopped on Google and found a quote that dates back to 1903. Joseph Fielding Smith, president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints at the time. Which quote might be the source of some of the leeriness some of us are running into these days. And I realize not everyone is Mormon out there, but you should be. So here we go. The quote. While a simple game of cards may be harmless, it is a fact that by immoderate repetition, it ends in an infatuation for chance schemes. Notice he hasn't even mentioned any details about the cards yet. What he's talking about has everything to do with a person's behavior. Continuing, well backing up so it still makes sense. While a simple game of cards in itself may be harmless, it is a fact that by immoderate repetition, it ends in an infatuation for chance schemes and habits of excess, in waste of precious time, in dulling and stupor of the mind, and in complete destruction of religious feeling. Wow, that is a mouthful, and I'm not even done with the quote. He goes on to say, these are serious results, evils that should and must be avoided by the Latter-day Saints. Then again, there is the grave danger that lurks in persistent card playing, which begets the spirit of gambling. There's the gambling, of speculation, and that awakens the dangerous desire to get something for nothing. Wow, okay. Before going into the details of that quote, I hope we all notice that the problem is the playing of cards, the immoderate playing of cards, as President Smith said, and the desires and habits it leads to in the lives of those involved. Okay, so we see where his concern is, or was, and I'm pretty sure the stance of the church has not changed on that topic. We certainly know the stance on gambling has been the same for a long time. President Gordon B. Hinckley just spoke in a General Church Conference in 2004, I think, on specifically the game of poker, which further made me leery about the standard popular 52-card deck. But that still doesn't answer my question. What about the cards themselves, the symbols on the back, the suicidal king, the naked guy? Am I just making these things up? So, we've learned so far that if there is an issue with these things, it definitely takes a back seat to the issue of our mentality and behavior with regard to the cards. But we're curious about this, so we're going a bit deeper. In my research, I found that over time, and through many different societal adaptations and adjustments, there have been a few different variations of this little deck of cards, my friends. Hundreds of variations. Okay, maybe not hundreds, but a lot. You know, it wasn't even always hearts, spades, diamonds, and clubs. Yeah, the suits, you know. It's been hearts, bells, leaves, and acorns. The seasons, the music. It's also been swords, batons, coins, and cups. Shwa! Put the coin in the cup. But the version we use today is pretty standard across the world, at least among all English-speaking societies. There's a ton of info about it on Wikipedia on the playing cards page. Not that that's the only source I used for my information. I also went to the face cards page. And a host of other websites I won't mention here. No pun intended. Get it? Web, host, hosting. Ha! Ha ha. I've got to stop these horrible jokes. I'll talk to my writer. So if there have been so many different versions and variations of the cards, has there at least been an effort to maintain consistency with these evil symbols we're talking about? Man, all this info on my question still isn't answered. Are face cards evil? I seriously doubt it. At least all this talk about evil symbols and such. Let's talk about the Suicide King. That's evil, right? Suicide is bad. Yes, but before we get too excited, let's take a look at this card. You see this sword or knife that's going behind his head? That's just it. It's going behind his head. Want to see it again? See, it's going behind his hat or his crown and his head. And it's the back of his head. Do you realize how difficult that would be? You'd probably miss. I guess that's why he hit part of his hat or his crown. No, there's no blood or anything. In no way does this depict suicide to me. So why have we heard this phrase Suicide King then? It's a nickname. Turns out some of the other cards have nicknames too. You got your one-eyed Jacks, the Flower Queen. See? She's holding a flower. The Death card. Puppyfoot. Batteries. 2 aces. Double A's. Get it? I didn't make that up. I promise. I read it on the internet. It's true. I guess when you play cards long enough, the games alone aren't enough to entertain you. The cards just become a part of you. And you name them. I don't know. But other than some weird nicknames we've attached to them, and some weird symbolism that fortune teller type people attach to them for their own fortune telling purposes and whatnot, I think they're pretty harmless. Unless you become an addict or a gambling fool, as we were warned about by the prophet before, used in moderation, they're probably okay. Don't commit suicide. Don't gamble. I don't think these cards were ever intended with any ill purposes. Well, maybe, but we certainly can't blame it on the cards themselves. Just like with anything, if we misuse it, it can be a bad thing. So what's the message? Use moderation in life, don't waste time, and don't waste any more time wondering if playing cards are intrinsically evil. I don't think they are. But we are sometimes. Not intrinsically, but sometimes we don't make such good decisions. Now I've gotten off the card topic altogether. That must mean this video is about over. Peace!